Welcome to Speak the Truth. It is Sunday, May 22nd, 2020, and today is a special show because we are celebrating a lot of 50 plus, 50th, oh my goodness, 50 years of Kids in Trouble, actually 50 plus years of Kids in Trouble.
Right.
50th anniversary of Inside Sports, I believe. 50 plus years of wedding bliss between Harold and our special guest, Miss Hattie. And I was just joking before we started that Harold boldly wears the pants in the family, but we all know that Miss Hattie is the one who holds them up for him. So that being said,
amen.
How are you all today?
Great, man.
Fine.
This is especially it's a celebration because, man, yesterday I celebrated 84 years, but I celebrated with COVID. We contacted COVID, man, and was just a mild case, and we're recovering from it. And I was telling a buddy of mine, this pastor friend of mine, I said, man, you know what? I'd rather be sick with COVID on my birthday than dead with COVID on my birthday. You know, so this is nothing to play with, man.
If it was 2 years ago and you had COVID, this would be a very different show.
Yes, indeed. I'm telling you.
We would be talking about, hey, you know, we remember Harold Bell.
Right.
If it was 2 years ago.
Serious, man. It's serious. And we understand that we were very fortunate that we got both of our shots and got both of our booster shots. And just happened over. We got both. Yeah, we got both. And it just happened, man. Last weekend, we were saying how we were sneezing and coughing and sweating, man. And Hattie, we had just lost our niece, and she was talking about, you know, going up to Tennessee for the funeral. I said, man, no, let's go to the doctor first. Let's go to the patient first and see what's happening. And that was that Monday. And patient first came back and said, you both got a slight case of COVID, man. So I was feeling like Superman, Gary. You know, I was feeling like Superman. I wasn't catching nothing, man. Hey, Superman, Superwoman. But man, they broke it down to us that patient first that we need to go into quarantine, and that's where we've been for the past 6 days, and that's where we were on my birthday, and you know, we had a good time, man. Looking out the window, had hot dogs and beans and lemonade, and felt very fortunate, man, that we're still here, you know, and feeling pretty good so far.
Well, I'm glad that you all are recovering from COVID, because you all are some good-looking COVID patients, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I see we have Mr. Andrew Johnson here with us. We can get him off of mute.
My main man. That's 70 years there, buddy.
We got to get you off of mute, Mr. Johnson. Lower left-hand corner in that screen.
Yeah.
Click that microphone. Click that thing off. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you, man.
And I wanted to say to Hattie, she's a wonderful person to be with you for 50. Come on, man. You know I know this.
You know it. You know it.
But she is a jewel. Believe that. Yeah. But hey, man, happy birthday, number 84.
54 years.
And how many years?
53 and almost 54.
Oh, that's wonderful.
November.
Yeah, hey, that is beautiful.
And Andrew been there for every one of them. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We go back, man. We go back 70 years, 12 and under baseball. That's how far we go.
Yes.
Wow, man.
Wow.
That is something else, man. Thanks.
That's amazing.
Thanks so much for being our friend, man. Really, couldn't have made it without you, my brother.
And I thank you too. It's the things that you've done for people in this community is unprecedented, and you and Hattie deserve a lot of credit because you've helped a number of people that have gone to the big time. But sometimes people forget that they got help along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't really give back.
Yeah.
But I can say that you and Hattie have always given back. No matter what the situation, whether you have it or not, y'all have given back. And I've been there for those parties, and it was all for the kids.
Yeah.
And I take my hat off to both of you for the things that you've done in this community, particularly to help young folks.
You know, I just want to say, man, give folks a little background on you, man. This guy come out of Langston Terrace in Northeast Washington, one of the really tough communities in DC. And of course, we played 12 and under ball together against each other. I was in Parkside, he was in Langston. And then we went on to Brown Middle School, you know, where I was a hell raiser. And my middle school principal, we had a great staff. Then we drew great staff, man. Our middle school staff and Spingarn High School staff, man, they were like none other, man.
Right.
And of course, we were both athletes, played football and basketball together. And then after we left high school, Andrew went away to college, I went away, and he came back to be a member of the DC Police Department, walking the streets, man, and we hooked up again, me as a roving leader and he as a DC cop, man, up there in the Cardozo Shore community. And then Andrew went on to homicide, where he became the top DC homicide detective. You know, he'd be lost today with all these murders. He couldn't be.
I can't imagine.
He was the top man there, man. Then he left there and went to DEA, where he traveled the world, man, and became retired as a supervisor, man. And you know, really proud of him, man. The great things that he's been able to do too, and never forgot, man, who he was and where he came from, man. And that's what friendship is all about, man. And a friend is somebody who's gonna tell you when you're wrong. And he has stepped to me, man. And that's great. I mean, that's great, man. And I see we got my other man here too, Cue Ball, Larry. Hey, Larry.
Yeah, we got. This is a celebration. We got to get him off of mute too.
Oh,
come on out there off mute, Mr. Larry.
We see Poochie and Nelby here. Is that Prince there?
Lower left-hand corner, Mr. Larry. You hit that microphone so we can get you off mute.
There you go.
And then we.
Right.
Yeah, Prince all the time. Hey,
that's him.
Hey, Prince.
There you are. And then we got Mr. Larry back here.
Yeah. All right. How you doing, Larry?
Good. Happy birthday, Harold.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right.
Another brother in the struggle, man, who has been there with us, man, through thick and thin. Larry's an entrepreneur, businessman, a DC public school guy, and has been giving back to his whole adult life, man. So I love you, man, and appreciate it. That you've done.
Well, I appreciate you, Harold.
Yeah, thank you, baby.
You done a lot of good.
Thank you. And this move, Cuba had to say hi.
How you doing? How you doing, Miss Bell?
Next panel is one of my young men back in the day from the Cardozo Shore area. William Butler, and they call him Poochie. And of course, my wife Nelby, and he got my main man there with him.
Prince.
Yeah, Prince is down in Alabama. Y'all know we were talking about him going down to Alabama. Well, he's up to varsity, and you'll be watching him next year, man. He stayed.
I remember.
Yeah,
he made the team.
All right.
48.
Number 48. All right. How you enjoying it, Prince? How you like it so far?
I'm loving it, every bit of it. I'm just taking every moment and getting better with it as days come.
Right. Hey, man, we're proud of you, man. Keep up the good work, man, and of course, keep making your mom and dad proud, man, because they're the ones that's been there for you, man. So you got a lot to live up to, and I know you will, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Can't forget about that.
Well, Nelby, where are you? Where we can't see you? Oh, hey, baby. All right. They down there in Florida. Man. They left us up here with all this sweltering heat. Okay, Gary, let's take it from there, Gary.
So let's look at a video here that really. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Number 48.
Oh, yeah, all right, number 48.
Good.
Alabama, Lou Saban. He got a star on his hands. That's right. All right, Prince.
We're gonna see a lot of that. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's look at this is a celebration of Harold Bell. Let's look at a couple of videos here, and let's just see what people think, what people have had to say over the years. Let's take a listen.
From the playing field of Banneker to the locker room of RFK Stadium, it's Inside Sports with your host, Harold Bell.
Well, Harold has been a crusader for the rights of black people all of his life. He has also been a crusader that has had a lot of friends, not only in the black community, but the white community in sports. And he's one of my friends over the years. We've done many things together. So Harold is truly a man that believes in his culture and his people, and will always be that way because nobody's ever been able to change him. So, hey, that's my partner.
In the sports world today, everyone claims to be an insider. Harold Bell is the original insider. Washington Times sports columnist Dick Heller says Harold Bell is the godfather of sports talk, the good kind. He played message music such as Wake Up Everybody by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, What's Going On by his homeboy and friend Marvin Gaye, and the James Brown classic Black and Proud. He was the first on-air sports talk show personality to write commentaries and the first to host sports media roundtables. Harold Bell is the man for all seasons. He was the first sports media personality to involve pro athletes, politicians, judges, entertainers, and media personalities in his community endeavors. In November 1974, he became the first Afro-American to host and produce his own sports television special in prime time on NBC affiliate WRC-TV4 in Washington, D.C. His special guest, the greatest, Muhammad Ali.
And they say that friendship is like our shadows. They're sticking with you as long as you're in the sun, but once you cross over into the shade, the shadow disappears. How do you distinguish your friends?
Well, I wrote something once that says, friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought nor sold, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. For gold is cold and lifeless, it can neither see nor hear. In time of trouble, it's powerless to cheer. It has no ears to listen, no heart to understand. It cannot bring you comfort or reach out a helping hand. So when you ask God for gift, be thankful if he sends, not diamonds, pearls, or riches, but the love of real true friends. This is Hansen the heavyweight champion of the whole world. I got all of you to check out Inside Sports with my main man, Harold Bell. Inside Sports, it's a knockout.
Woo! We could go on and on with some of this stuff. My goodness.
I've been truly blessed, man. Truly blessed. That man right there, man, is really the one that really, he and Red Auerbach, I got to say, put me on the map when it came to credibility, when it came to Inside Sports. I didn't have to go through any sports agents to get to Muhammad Ali or Red Auerbach. They were there for me, man, whenever I needed them. So I've been not only, been fortunate with great friends like Andrew Q and of course my man Poochie and his family, man, that have helped us along the way, because we never could have made it without the likes of Muhammad Ali, man. He was one of a kind, and I miss that brother today.
Yeah, he's got the anniversary of his death is coming up next month.
Yeah, June 4th, I think. June 4th or June 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be 6 years that he left us, man. But Gary, you also have a video clip of a young lady that inspired, that blew me away, man. I know all of you who haven't seen it, you're gonna love this video clip, because This is what it's all about, not giving up, man. Don't give up, no matter the naysayers, man. Don't give up. And Gary, run that video on this.
I got choked up. I got choked up watching this. Let's take a look.
Girl who started the race and then lost her shoe, but not her spirit. Just watch this 7-year-old who loses her shoe. Talaya Crawford goes back for that shoe, puts it on, keeps running.
She ran her shoe.
20 yards behind.
Go Talaya. Go Lele. Go Lele. Go Lele. Let's go Lele. Good job, Lele. Let's go Lele. Let's go Lele. Let's go Lele. Let's go Lele. Lele. Let's go Talaya. Come on, mama. Let's go Talaya. Let's go Talaya. Let's go Talaya.
I love this.
You could hear her family, her loved ones, amazed. Not only did she keep going, she won the race. Talaya's father, Terrence, a professional boxer, writing, "I just can't stop thinking about my daughter's track meet. She doesn't have a clue how much she just motivated me. This is the definition of not giving up, heart and grit." And tonight,
hi, everybody.
Talaya with this message of thanks.
I just wanted to thank y'all for supporting me and sharing my video.
Talaya's family telling us tonight they hope this inspires others to work hard and to get to the finish line. Because their Talaya never gave up. Yeah, that is just incredible. Talaya the fighter. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.
Woo!
Finally, the little girl who's...
How about that?
Wow.
That's perseverance.
No.
I'm telling you.
Come on in, guys. Come on in, Prince and Poochie. Now, what y'all think about that video?
Determination.
Yeah.
That's determination, focus, the desire to win, at all costs. Because that little girl, I'm speechless, Can't no words describe how I feel seeing that. Yeah. That's inspiring.
And I would have been equally as inspired even if she didn't win the race. Right. The fact that she finished. Even if she had lost, I still would have been equally as inspired.
That's right.
She has a bright future.
Yeah.
With that perseverance. She can do anything she wants to do.
Yeah. Cue ball.
He's on mute.
Now, take his head off mute, Q. He can see he's on. He trying to. Cue ball always had that.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, that was the definition of never giving up. She's a model for the whole world to see.
Yeah, whole world to see, man. Amen, man. I am, that's why, I'm still out here with these young people whenever I get a chance. I got some young people that have just accomplished some great things. I want to get them on the show, man. I had them since they were little kids, man. Now they're graduating from high school, man, and going to college. Can't give up on these kids, man. You cannot give up on them. It's not the kids the problem. It's we, the adults, who are the problem, man. Because this racism and stuff that they're learning it from their parents, man. They're learning from other adults, man. That's what's happening, and what happened, of course, in Buffalo just a week or so ago, man. He's 18 years old. 18 years old. Where do you think he learned all that stuff from, man?
Drove over 200 miles.
He goes 200 miles, man, to kill black folks, man. And I'm gonna tell you something else, man. I don't care what people say, man. Do you realize when you watch that white kid being handcuffed by those white officers, they didn't throw him on the ground, put their foot on his neck.
Oh no!
All white officers surrounded him, man. And you go to the courtroom, it's the same thing. White officer, taking him into the courtroom. You watch that bus situation with those young ladies from Delaware State University. White cops, man, all white cops. Pulled this man over because he was in the left lane. Give him a ticket. Why are you going to humiliate those young black women, man, by going through their luggage, man, and then going through their underwear? Come on. And then you got a brother who's in charge of them. You know what he says? Oh, they went by the book. Whatever happened to common sense, man? That's ridiculous, man. And if Biden don't get on that, and the rest of these politicians don't get on allowing this stuff to keep happening all around this country, these cops have not changed, man. I don't care what good you see them doing, they're doing worse when it comes to black folks.
It's clear. It's clear. Because even though a couple of years ago when the shooter went into the church, and when they were taking him out, the police officers stopped at Burger King before they took him to the station because they said he's gonna have a long day, so they feed him. Stop at Burger King on the way to the station before they book him. Come on, there's differential consequences. There are definitely a difference here.
Yeah.
You know, one of the guys, Mr. B, and you may want to ease into this, or is Dale Hansen, this legendary sports reporter out of Dallas.
Oh yeah, tell us about it, Gary.
Well, he's a legendary sports reporter who's been in the business for about 44 years, spent most of his time in Dallas with the Cowboys, Jerry Jones covering them, but he's given it up. He's retiring, and he wants to retire while he has a good quality of life so he can still make a difference. And his career, and I mean, he's legendary down there in the South, especially in Dallas and Texas, kind of reminded me some parallels of yours in terms of the accomplishments. And I've got a video of him summarizing his 40 plus years in the business. And we can take a look at that and then see how it parallels some of the things that you've done in your community. As to whether or not you get credit for it or not is something else. But let's take a look and see.
I've always been afraid of this day because I've always known this day was coming. My dad said that to me when my mom died, and now I understand just a little bit of what he felt that day. A part of me does die tonight. Maybe the best part, certainly the favorite part, because this is my life. It was the life I could only dream about as a little boy in that small farm town in Iowa. It is the life I chose. When my first wife said I had to choose between this life and her, I chose this life. My kids never did forgive me for that, but I could have never been the father they wanted anyway if I didn't have the life I wanted. I have loved everything about my life, the places I've been, the teams I've covered, the people I've met, and the people I've worked with for the past 38 years here, 41 years in Dallas, and 50 years since I spun that first record as a disc jockey in Iowa. But 6 stations later, fired from 5 of them, and a 13-week contract when I started here. There were days I didn't think I'd make the 13 weeks, but here we are. I'd like to name each and every one of the great and talented people I've worked with, but I'm 73 now, and I want to be done before I'm 74, and I wouldn't be. It was the SMU investigation in '86 that led to the end of their football team's glory years that changed my life. It changed the way I covered sports, and it played a very big part in making me the person I am. I've said several times I hated the fact that SMU story had to be told, but I'm incredibly proud of the fact we were the ones who told it. I knew then my life had to be about more than ball scores and highlights, and I will be forever grateful this station gave me the platform and the opportunity to talk about gay rights in America, the gun violence in our cities, the racism that my granddaughter has lived with every day of her life. This station has allowed me to talk about the issues that really matter. I have been told I make the conservative viewer uncomfortable. That was never my intent, but I do hope I did. I think a good commentary should make everybody uncomfortable, and I think the news should too. We do not provide the public service we should by reporting only the good news. We shouldn't sanitize what can be dirty and harsh, and yes, uncomfortable. Television has to be more than sitcoms and cop shows. We need to take people out of their bubbles and their safe place and make them think about the world we live in. It is the only thing I've ever really wanted to do, was to simply make you think about the things I think we should all think about. But I've survived 41 years on Dallas TV because the great Denny Livingston taught me how. If you don't have a Denny Livingston in your life, I strongly encourage you to find one. He makes dreams come true. It was Danny who taught me in Omaha to cover the kids, to tell their stories. They'll watch, mom and dad will watch, and the grandparents will too. And now 41 years later, some of those kids I've talked about on Thank God for Kids, they're the grandparents now. And some of those kids we've talked about on Thank God for Kids, they will be kids forever and sleep with angels tonight. Dolly Parton said it perfectly in a song she wrote. If I should stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And I will always love you. I will always love you for letting that little boy in that small farm town in Iowa live out his dream and grow old in Texas. I wish you all the very best. And I do hope you can all find a little of the happiness in your life that you have all made possible in mine. There will be no more TV tomorrows from me. So for everyone who's been a part of this one, and all of these 41 years, I'm Dale Hansen. I really do thank you for watching. Good night and goodbye.
Okay.
I see a lot of parallels in what that guy did in his career and what you've been doing.
Yeah, I think the next video is going to prove that.
Yeah, because he gave you a call.
That's right.
Let's see how Mr. Hansen here has basically honored you with a call.
The Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their new coach. Even my guys Mike and Jonah have been questioning that hire. But Kingsbury fits all the criteria to be a head coach in the NFL. He's an offensive genius, he's young, and he's white. And not necessarily in that order. There have been 6 new coaches hired so far, all white, and 2 coaches of color they are replacing. Stephen Wilkes, fired in Arizona after just 1 year. Vance Joseph in Denver after just 2. But Cowboys coach Jason Garrett is in his 9th year, apparently because he wins so much. A lot of people don't understand how Kingsbury can have a losing record at Texas Tech, no NFL experience, and get one of the 32 NFL jobs. But getting fired at Tech doesn't eliminate him from moving up, at least it doesn't to me. I've had 11 jobs in my life, been fired from 8 of them, and moved up every time. And I am arrogant enough to tell you, I think Channel 8 was right to give me another chance. But I am the product of white privilege in America, and I've never denied that I wasn't either. If they made a poster, my picture should be on it. Getting fired at one place and getting another chance isn't the problem. But young, talented coaches of color not getting the chance, that's a huge problem. The covert racism of the NFL ownership group was so bad, the NFL had to make a rule so that minority coaches could at least get an interview. Cowboys secondary coach Chris Richard has been interviewed, and there are reports saying he might get the Miami job. After what he's done with this Cowboys defense, how could he not? Unless it is true, what black parents have been telling their children for decades now. You have to be twice as good to go half as far. I dream of the day when those parents are wrong, because now.
Hello, this is Bill Hansen in Dallas. I lost your phone number when you called the other day, and I finally had to track through your notes, and I finally found this here.
Join a movement of almost 6 million Americans.
Your stuff is fantastic to read about, and everything you've done is makes what my little bit appealing off the cover of white privilege, as you say, seem rather insignificant. But I thank you for sharing this with me, and hope this message gets to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. For just in case for those of you who may not have been able to hear that voicemail message that Dale Hansen left for Harold, let me read the text of it. He says, "Hi, Harold. This is Dale Hansen in Dallas. I lost your phone number when you called the other day, but I finally found it. Your stuff is fantastic to read about. Everything you have done makes my little bit look like the peeling off of the cover of white privilege, as you say, and it looks rather insignificant. Thanks for sharing this with me. I hope you get this message, Dale Hansen."
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, that was really it made me feel real good about myself, because I don't get any credit on this end. No, God gives me my credit. In fact, yeah, I am, God has blessed me. Instead of having a lot of money, he's made sure I had great health. And that piece by Dale Hansen, everything that he was talking about, I had already done. I've been doing it for years, 10 years. I was writing commentaries in the community, you name it. But they all followed behind me. For a guy like Dale Hansen to come and follow up on my call and say, Harold, yeah, I am a product of white privilege. And that is the real deal, man. The racism still goes on. I have survived it. I've become a success in my own right. Like I say, you can't pay any attention to the naysayers, because if you pay any attention to the naysayers, you will get absolutely nothing done, especially when it comes to other people. So yeah, I thank Dale Hansen for returning my call and giving me my props, and then just keep it moving. That's what we've been able to do, along with, of course, great friends like you, man. Hattie and I have been able to survive and keep reaching back. We still got those petty people out there who'll stab you in the back, talk behind your back, and all those other things. But I grew up in a neighborhood where I came out tough, man. I came out tough. And so I'm still thankful today that I've been blessed by Hattie with 54 years, Andrew with over 70 years, and Gary, you, and Larry, and Poochie, and Nelby. And yeah, that's what it's all about, man. So you guys are my heroes. That's what I have to say about that. Anybody else?
Yeah, we'll open it up. Anybody else want to chime in?
Okay.
You know you're my hero. Always have been, always will be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your story is not only with me, but it's through my kids, and now my grandkids know that story.
Right.
So they can pass it on to their kids. So it's a generational conversation that we have to be passed down by Mr. Harold Bell and what he has done for kids coming through my generation, as well as kids even still today. You know, I just wish that more people had a great appreciation for the work that you've done and the person that you are. But you know how the saying goes, that much is given, much is required. And you never asked for anything, but you gave everything. You know, so, you know, you can't do nothing but respect a man like that.
Thank you. Well, Gary, what brought this program to your attention, that you received a message, I think, from Washingtonian Magazine. Tell us what that was all about, Gary.
Yeah, I got an email from a reporter trying to track down Harold Bell. And the reporter was from the Washingtonian, and he said he was trying to get a little bit about the history of WUST, the building that was housing WUST back in the day. And so I got a sense from, I responded to him and told him that I could connect him with Mr. Bell. I tried to get a sense of what the story was, and he was looking for some history about it. And because, you know, I'm a native Washingtonian, so I remember growing up listening to Mr. Bell, and when WUST used to play gospel music and all the DJs. So I said, let me just make this connection. So I called Mr. Bell, let him know, and hook the two up. And what happened after that once you all got connected?
Well,
Get back in the screen there, Mr. B.
Yeah, I think what happened, he discovered a podcast talking about Lord Fauntleroy Bandy, who was a DJ. I know Andrew is familiar with Lord Fauntleroy Bandy, and I know Poochie, because Poochie grew up in the area. You know, Larry, remember Lord Fauntleroy Bandy, one of the great sharp DJs that this town has ever seen. He was legendary at WST Radio. And at that time, WST Radio was like a daytimer. They went off the air when it got dark. But Lord Fauntleroy Bandit would come up on U Street, man, and have this place in the window and play his music. And people would drive up and down U Street. I would leave Spingarn and come up and hang out up on the U Street corridor. And I was very much aware of who Lord Fauntleroy Bandit was. So what happened, evidently, the editor heard the podcast. Can you play that podcast, Gary? and see where they're coming from.
Do you see you have another guest here, Mr. B?
Who we got?
I think, is it Brian McIntyre?
Happy birthday, Harold.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, hey, thank you so much.
84 years, man. That's Hattie. How are you?
You looking good, big boy.
Well, I'm faking it, but congratulations. That's quite a life. And I tell you, just to get serious for one quick second, 54 years of marriage, 50 years of helping people through kids in trouble. That's an aspirational thing for most of us mere humans. The impact you've had on so many people's lives is strictly inspirational. So many more to you both. Happy birthday and happy anniversary.
Brian, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man, for all the support that you've given me in my career, especially on the sports media plane. You know, by you we met back in the day when you were VP for media relations for NBA, and you kept saying, Harold, we got to have lunch. We got to have lunch. Sometimes you would say you would wonder where I was coming from, and you know, and I always say I'm gonna follow up on that. And we finally followed up on it in Philadelphia at the NBA All-Star game one weekend, and I said we're gonna have lunch, and we didn't have lunch until you retired, and Hattie and I took the bus up to New York.
Yeah, I remember it.
Great sit down, man. Thank you so much.
You know, there was another great guy, Bob Lanier. Years ago, the reason we met was you had written an article about our first encounter.
Right.
You had one viewpoint, I had another, but Bob Lanier's the guy who brought that article to my attention. And from there, the phone call went to you, you called me, and then 10 years later, we had that lunch we'd waited for, and I wish we'd have done it 20 years earlier.
But man, nevertheless, man, you helped me help a whole lot of young Black reporters coming up, both female and male. Some of them, I see some of these young ladies are in the NBA now as analysts, man. They're on ESPN. They don't even realize that it was you to help get them credentials.
No. That was you that helped them. And I read that in one of your pieces. I didn't even realize it. One of the big women in covering the NBA got her start through your helping her get credentials.
That's
right. You continue to amaze me.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for always being there, and we love you, man. And all of it, you know, all of you guys, man, we owe you because we couldn't have made it without you, man. It was rough, but it would have been rougher. It had not been for you, man.
Nobody owes me anything. We're all in this together.
All right. Okay.
It doesn't always seem that way, but it's the only way to view it.
Right. Thank you so much.
You got it. Enjoy the day.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank
care.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. Let's go with that piece on WST Radio.
Yeah, this is the history piece. We'll take a listen.
Our next stop on today's Shaw Tour brings us to a legendary live music venue, the 930 Club. If you've ever been to this spot on V Street Northwest, you may have noticed something kind of unusual, an antenna sticking out of the very top. See, back in the day, the building was home to WUST, a daytime-only radio station transmitting at 250 watts on AM 1120. It was a low-power station, to be sure, but that didn't stop it from making its mark. In the 1950s, it was one of the first stations in Washington to play R&B. And no WUST staffer was more famous than DJ Lord Fauntleroy Bandy. His real name was John Bandy, and he'd speak with a British accent as he played tunes behind a window looking out at the sidewalk. So kids from all over would swarm outside and watch. Producer Hans Anderson searched far and wide for audio of Bandy, and while he wasn't able to find any of that old tape, he did find some major Lord Fauntleroy fans who shared their memories of the legendary DJ.
He brings back the great music, man, like the flamingos, like the spaniels, the Oreos.
My love must be a kind of blind love.
He broadcast right out of this, a window right here, and people will ride up and down the streets, and he will holler at them out. This is Lord Fauntleroy Bandy. Hello out there in that red Cadillac convertible.
We
we would stand out here and we would dance and he encouraged it. And so I don't think that many of us knew his name was John. We just knew Lord Fauntleroy Bandy.
And it was very, very amusing, man, because like I said, when I first saw him, he wore an ascot. You know, he was dressed sharp dresser, man, really a sharp dresser. And he was very striking, a ladies' man.
If you can just imagine this whole sidewalk being covered with girls.
Why do fools fall in love?
Swooning. Maybe he was 15 years older than we are, but we would be like, oh, goodness.
Why do they fall in love?
I used to hear him in the afternoons. Apparently he did afternoon drive. And of course there was the British accent that kind of fingerprinted him.
But I know he was a student at Howard University, and he was in the actors studio, and I know they had traveled to Europe during his tenure there, and he came back with this great accent, the British accent. In fact, a lot of us thought that he was white, but we didn't realize that he was a brother. And we found that out because, like I said, he broadcast right out of this, a window right here.
I think it was a learned accent. I don't know whether he had traveled, you know. I never thought about that, really. But I mean, and as far as we were concerned, it was perfect. You know, it was a perfect accent, we thought.
Okay.
Mr. B.
Yeah.
Man, so you were there. Tell us more about that, because this young reporter, he wanted more of the history, but he also shared with me that his editors had put some constraints on him.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I guess they only wanted WUST, but how do you separate WUST when you are also part of that as well?
Well, that was the problem there. What they didn't realize is that when they came out to interview me, is that they he didn't realize that I was Washingtonian of the Year. Larry, put yourself on mute. We can hear you.
I already muted it. I'm muted.
So anyway, they didn't realize that I was Washingtonian of the Year in 1980, the first Black sports media personality to be honored as Washingtonian of the Year. That didn't throw the young dude for a loop. He was surprised that I had that kind of history with Washingtonian magazine. Then I went on to tell him that Lord Fauntleroy Bandy was the man like from the 1950s to 1960, and Lord Fauntleroy Bandy left DC to go to Philadelphia and hit gold up there, man. He married this young white lady who was on drugs, and her parents owned the Sun Oil Company, and he got her off drugs, and he married her, man, and that was it for him, and never coming back to DC. In the meantime, 1960 to 1980, WST was gospel. They turned it into a gospel station. And the only person that I can remember was a guy by the name of Cal Hackett, you know, who was like the DJ there doing gospel. But then I came along in 1980 when I was named Washingtonian of the Year, and I had got kicked out of WYCB and went looking for a job up with Kathy Hughes, and she said no, and I ended up at WST. And I stayed at WST from 1980 to 1995, and kind of I was the voice of WST radio from 1980 to 1995. And I think some of the landmark things that I did at WST radio, one thing I was able to campaign and get our friend Willie Wood, who was a dear friend of Andrew Johnson's too. We were able to get him to the NFL Hall of Fame because they had blackballed Willie because Willie discovered there were drugs when he was assistant coach of the San Diego Chargers. And he told them, man, y'all can't do no drugs here. And they blackballed him. You know, he was never able to get a job again until he went to the Canadian Football League and then came back home with the World Football League in Philadelphia. So Willie was left out. He was one of the great all-time defensive backs with the Green Bay Packers. In fact, Vince Lombardi called Willie Wood his coach on the field. So I campaigned along with Dick Heller and myself. We campaigned to get Willie Wood into the Hall of Fame, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1980. And the first place he came back to was WST Radio to thank me and those of us that supported him. That was one thing. The next thing was that the Washington Post did a front page story on the sports section, page 1 and page 3, on Black sports media personalities being absent on television. And I was one of the headliners in that, and they did a second story of me and Red Auerbach on page 3, which was unheard of. So kind of putting WOL on the map. And then, of course, came Earl Lord, the first Black to play in the NBA. Earl grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, and I had known Earl when I was a little guy, and they had blackballed him for some reason. I don't know, he's one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, but he was never given his just due as a pioneer in the NBA. And plus, he played on a championship team in Syracuse for the NBA. But for some reason, they overlooked him. So I got together with Congressman John Lewis, Red Auerbach, Dick Heller, and myself, and we campaigned and got Earl Lord inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame, which I'm quite sure Brian McIntyre is well aware of that whole scenario there. So those are the kind of things that I was able to do to keep WST on the map back in the day, but didn't look like the Washingtonian magazine wanted to recognize my part of the history. So I think they might have killed the story, Gary.
Well, I'll be looking for it. I might follow up with that guy, but I think you left out something else about your tenure and your time at WUST.
Yes, you're right.
Weren't you the final media stop for some guy that we know in the city?
Yeah, final media stop for Marion Bird. When after the bitch had set him up, and after I had forewarned him that the FBI would get ready to do a sting on him, he ignored me. Said, "Harold, thank you so much, but I got everything under control." And we know about 6 months later, they caught him down at the hotel. And of course, they end up going to jail. You know, I think it was a bum charge. But I told Arnold McKnight was my roommate at college in Winston-Salem. We played football together, and then we became great friends. And Arnold McKnight came to DC, became the DC boxing commissioner, named by Marion Bird. So the three of us used to play tennis together. So anyway, after that incident, Marion Bird was getting ready to go to jail, and McKnight called me one night. He said, "Harold, Marion wants to come on your show in the morning." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, he wants to come on your show." I said, "Okay, bring him on." So about 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting up at WST doing my morning show, and my producer, Brian Edwards, at the time, he pointed to the back, and there comes through the door comes Marion Bird. I couldn't believe it. And the first thing he said, "Hey, Harold Bell is always going to tell the truth. And I should have listened to him from the beginning." And that was he was on the way to jail then. That was Saturday. He went to jail that Monday. And we know what the rest of it is. Marion Bird, the mayor for life, came out and ran for mayor again and won. So yeah, that's one of the big stories that happened at WST Radio and that I was a part of. Thanks for reminding me, because that was big.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh,
What else?
wow.
Okay. Well, one of the things too is what time is it? Is it time? Oh, yeah, it's almost time to get. One of the things, man, you know, I've had a lot of what the critics say about Harold Bell. I got a page of what the critics say, you know, the naysayers and the people that praise me, like Brian McIntyre. But this was really big. This here says, "Harold, congratulations. Your archives are valuable and should be given the broadest possible exposure. Have you thought about offering this of your programs to the new Smithsonian Institution, National Museum of African American History and Culture? A wing of the National Museum of American History and Culture will be dedicated to the struggle in sports and will be titled Leveling the Playing Field. Your work was a major force over the years in leveling the playing field, especially in terms of the struggle to define and project our truth. Great job over the years, Harold. Great timing and reprising that legacy. Now, the best wishes to your wife, Hattie. She is in our thoughts and prayers. Dr. Harry Edwards, man, that was fantastic. You know, Dr. Harry Edwards was the coordinator of the boycott of the 1968 Olympics with John Carlos and Tommy Smith. So to get something, receive something like that, man, it gives you, gives you a better light on life, man. Some people are recognizing what you do, and those, like I said, do we have that as we get out here on O.J. McGee out of University of North Carolina? Gary, did you find that piece?
Yeah, the reporter.
Yeah. No, O.J. is a professor at the university.
Oh, he's a professor. That's right. Yeah.
He's DC boy.
Yeah.
For the University of North Carolina women's basketball team, to name a few. I am so proud of this brother, man. I had nothing to do with his success, so don't think I'm trying to get it on his success, man. But I am so proud of you, O.J. McGee, man. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, Brother Bell. Thank you so much, man. You make me sound important or something to hear come out your mouth like that, man. So I was up here writing all this stuff about what Dante was talking about. He's throwing out all the acronyms, the ICF, the HBO, the make sure your notifications. I'm writing fast, man. I'm like, man, I gotta get this. So it's really a pleasure, man, and an honor to be here on Speak the Truth. And that's what you all continue to do, speak the truth. But let me first say, I just want to congratulate you, Brother Bell, on the 50 years of your career inside sports, and not just sports. This is all that you have done for over 50 years, not only in the Washington community, but just your relationships far exceed the nation's capital. And a lot of people don't know the stuff that you've done behind the scenes with your foundation, with the kids up there in the nation's capital. And then today is just a very good example. Like, most people know you as this sports guy, but you are giving information to the community that we can use. And so, man, I really appreciate you. I love you, brother. And it's just an honor for me to be here on the show today. And let me also say, I know you were going for Duke. I had to wear my UNC paraphernalia. I'm sorry. This is my work uniform. So whoever paying the bills, that's where I'm going for. So, they write the check, so that's what I'm going for right there.
OJ, man, really, man, so glad to get you on. But got to bring you back, man, because there's so much information that you got, man. And I'm proud, man, that you are in a position where you keep reaching back, man. That's what it's all about, man. And that's what it's all about with me, man, to see young guys like yourself, man, say, hey, Harold, man, congratulations. Thanks for all you've done. That's all so many people look for, just a thank you, man. But some of us, OJ, as you well know, you've been around and you've seen it, man. I don't know how we forget, man, who we are and where we came from. And the people like Martin Luther King, just what Gary was saying, he gave his life, man, for us to move ahead, man. So the things that I've done, I have not forgotten those people who died for me, man, died for me. So thank you so much, OJ, for being who you are. Woo! Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. I just want to say to OJ has a mentor, and his mentor is a guy that I once worked with. I just call him by the name of Bruce. And OJ said he was going to check with Bruce, but Bruce is one of those guys, talented individual filmmakers out of DC, but Bruce kind of lost his way. I don't know how he lost his way, but we were working on a project. Hattie was there on the Muhammad Ali project. He left us out there hanging. So I just moved on. I didn't say anything. I just moved on. But that was one of OJ's mentors. So OJ, you can tell Bruce if he needs something to say to me. He got my telephone number. My number has not changed, or he can get it from you, man. But we, as Black folks, we got to stop doing all this nitpicking behind each other's back. You got to say something, man. Be a man and confront whoever you're having a problem with. That's what I've been able to do over the years. And I think it has paid off for me, because peace of mind is not for sale. You cannot buy peace of mind. You don't want to see people on the street that you got to duck around the corner. I don't have to duck anyone. Thank God. Well, I'm gonna thank all you guys, Gary. I want to also, as we get out here, I'm gonna send my wife and I will send our deepest condolences out to our nephew, Weldon Hammond, in the loss of his wife, Carol. You are in our thoughts and prayers. You are right now in Tennessee for her funeral. So I just want to say, man, we love Carol. Carol's beautiful. I want to send, there she is right there. I want to send also a tribute out to Red Auerbach, man, and the great things that Red, Sam, Casey, Jones, man, they were always there for me. We just lost Sam Jones a few months ago. We lost Casey, and of course, years ago, we lost Red. But this thing, they were always, the Boston Celtics were always there for me, man. You know, I was not able to do this by myself. So I just want to send tribute out to them as we go out there, to Carol, to the Celtics. And Hattie, you want to say something?
I just wanted to say happy birthday to my 84-year-old baby. I 50, but here I go again. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Doc.
Happy birthday, Mr. Bell. We love you, Mr. Bell.
All right, President Delvey and Larry.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh, how to weigh them bad. And I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I don't know where this road is going to lead, and all I know is where we've been and what we've been through. And if we get to see tomorrow, I hope it's worth all the pain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so